Alexa, stop.
She's coming down in a minute.
In your books, you can do it on your... in your books, on your whiteboards at home, you can post your answers on the chat as well. Make sure you say hello as well so I can say good morning to you. Okay, so 6 questions to have a go at to start with.
Okay, big maths. Innocence. Big maths. What does B stand for? What does B stand for? No, indices. 4 8. Double 16. Double 16. 2 pounds. 32. 34. 36. 1. 4 times 8 and 2 equals 36. We add 7 times 7 times 3 on my class. 22. Add 3, 25.
7 times 3 is it 22, Theo?
20. 23. 23. 23.
Nope.
1.
It's your favourite, Theo.
3 times 2 is 14. 21. And it's down to 21. 2.
Good morning, Nicholas. Good morning, Neve and Indy as well.
3.
Hi, Rhiannon.
7. 3
Good morning, Elsie.
times 7.
And George, Astrid and Leeds. Just remember the order we do things in. So we do brackets first, so anything in brackets we do first. The big one for me is you always add, you always times before you add. So in question 2, we are not going to be doing 3 plus 7 and then timesing it by 3. We're going to be doing 7 times 3 and then adding 3 to it. The order is really, really important. If you're not quite sure of this, you want to just check out the big maths lesson.
In case it was brackets. So, we have 7 first. We have 7 first. 3.
Okay, right, done. If you haven't finished all those, let's just have a look at some of these answers because I just wanted to warm you up so we can get on with the bit about measurement. So, first one, 4 times 8 plus 2. So we do the 4 times 8 first. 4 8s are 32. Then we need to add 2 to it. So we end up with an answer of 34. Question 2. The first thing we're going to do is the 7 times 3. So it's 3 plus 21, because 7 times 3 is 21, gives you 24. So many people get that one wrong because they do the 3 plus 7 first. On question 3, you do the 3 plus 7 first because it's in brackets, so that is 10, then times it by your 3, gives you 30. Question 4, we've got 2 times to do first, so you do this times first, 9 times 3, which is 27. We do this times 3 times 5 is 15, and then we add those together, which gives you 42. Question 5, we do the times first, which is 15. So it's 20 minus 15, not 15 minus 20. Look at the order it's written in. 20 minus 15 is 5. And finally, question 6. This is an index, so that's what the indices stands for there. It means 4 squared. 4 squared means 4 times by itself. So 4 times 4 is 16, and then we've got to do 3 times 16, which is a difficult multiplication. 3 times 10, if we partition it, is 30. 3 times 6 is 18. Add them together, gives you 48. Okay, so a big maths reminder there. So easy to get those in the wrong order. It really, really is. Okay, so hopefully you are warmed up now with that. Okay, people are saying too easy, fantastic. I want those to be easy. I want you to be used to that work. Now then, going to be very interested in some of your ideas for this. We're going to look at the metric units. I'll explain what those are in a bit. But before we start, I want to think, do you actually know how tall, how long different things are? Okay, so you can use whatever units you want, whatever you want to measure, and it's fine. I'm interested in thinking, do you know how long a mouse is, approximately? Do you know how tall the average height of a man is? I'm not being sexist using a man, but this for some reason is what comes up on a lot of exam papers. So men are on average slightly taller than women. So if this is a real life man, what is the average height of that person? What is the height of the Eiffel Tower? A beautiful monument, very famous in France, in Paris. And also, what is the distance from Manchester to London? So post your answers on the chat, talk about them at home, write them down, it's up to you. Very interested to see if you have any idea how big these different things are. Okay?
Are you talking about the of that stick, man?
No, of a real man. This is the length of a real man here, okay? So the length of a real person. What is the height of a real person? An adult. The length of the mouse includes its tail as well.
That is a Jupiter. 30 centimeters.
Those people, they got all their big maths questions correct. That's fantastic. That is really, really good. Right, we got about 250 miles, so that one interesting answer. Length of a mouse is 50 centimetres from Ethan, okay. Think a man is 4 feet tall. Yeah, no, don't worry. I don't expect a lot of you to have any idea about these, because I'm sure you hear about centimetres and metres and things like that, but you don't use these much, so I'm just looking for a guess. I'm going to go through some of these in a bit. We've got 10 centimetres of mouse there, so 10 centimetres or 50 centimetres, interesting. If you remember what I said a centimetre was, I'll give you some help here. A centimetre is about the thickness of your finger. That is about 1 centimetre. Okay, a metre is 100 of those, so a metre is about that long. Okay,
So
that's a metre.
How can a mouse be 10 centimeters for yen? How?
Why don't you think it can?
Because it's tiny a mouse. I think.
That's a centimetre there, that there.
Okay, maybe enough to get to the tail.
So I'll try and turn the volume up a bit. Right, is that better for the sound? Is that better for the sound? Okay, please let me know if that is better for the sound. Right, let's have a look at these. Okay, so a mouse 10 centimetres, that is about that long. 50 centimetres, as someone said, is about that long. That is one big mouse. Okay, so we need to get used to these units. The average height of a man is about 170 centimetres, which is 1.7 metres. The Eiffel Tower is a whopping 324 metres long. So if you think a 100 metre sprint, that's like the short sprint, which is still quite a long way, that is over 3 of them. And from Manchester to London is about 200 miles from Manchester to London. Okay, so some good estimations there. Right, next bit. Okay, we are going to be looking at volume. Okay, so I want to know how much liquid can fit inside these. So a normal bottle of water, so a standard bottle of water about that big, how much liquid can fit inside there? How much liquid does it take to fill a bathtub? And how much liquid goes into an Olympic-sized swimming pool?
Oh my god.
We normally measure liquid in millilitres and litres is the units we're going to be using. Please let me know if the sound is any better as well.
50 millilitres. Like, what is the size of a millilitre? What's the size of a millilitre?
A millilitre is a tiny little, so it's about maybe half the tip of your little finger is a millilitre. About just the very tip, about your nail of your little finger is about a millilitre. So a millilitre of water is about your nail. But the whole, if you chopped up the top of your finger at the nail, don't do that please, but that would be your, that would be about a millilitre.
He's done that to me once. Milliliters. 30 liters.
Right, I'm going to turn off the headphones because that's not working. Right, okay, hopefully that's much better for the sound. I'll just speak loud. I don't know what's going on with that. Right, okay, so look at these answers then. So we are looking at a bottle of water is 500 millilitres of water. That is half a litre. That's a good thing. I tend to compare everything else. So one of those normal bottles of water, 500 millilitres. A bath can fit about 80 litres in for a normal bath. And amazingly, I didn't know this, but a swimming pool, an Olympic swimming pool, is 2.5 million litres of water. That is incredible. I had no idea it took up that much water for an Olympic-sized swimming pool. 2.5 million litres of water. Okay, that is a huge, huge, huge amount. Okay, last one of these to do before we get into some calculations. Right, how heavy are these things? How heavy is a Mars bar? How heavy is a fully grown man? On average, how heavy is 500 millilitres of water? That same bottle. And how heavy is an African bush elephant?
African bush elephant. So I think it's 35 times 3. Do the elephant first. I'm going to do the elephant first.
Some toast? Yeah?
And it's really tricky to work with these measurements if you're not sure, if you're not using them before. Okay, right, we're going to go with the answers for these and let's see what you've got. Okay, so we've got a Mars bar is 58 grams. A man is 80 kilograms, which is about 170 pounds. If some of you working in pounds then, or in stone, maybe about 11 stone, something like that. 500 millilitres of water is exactly 500 grams. Now that is handy. So water weighs the same as it takes up the space. So we made them the same. So if you've got 500 grams of water, you know it's 500 millilitres. It's really useful that. And an elephant is 600 kilograms, which is also 6 tons. So pretty heavy. You're going to, a lot heavier than a man. Okay, a lot of those will be needed to weigh the same as an elephant. So they are even bigger than you might think, or even heavier than you might think. Right, so let's talk about this kind of question you get here. This is an old GCSE question that everyone really struggled with because they weren't used to how tall things were. Okay, so these pictures are drawn to scale. So this is a man and this is a giraffe standing next to the man. And the question said, estimate how tall you think the giraffe is. Okay, so look at that picture. Now we just went through how tall a man is. A man is about 180 centimetres, or you could say 2 metres to estimate that. So if you think the man is 2 metres, how would you work out how tall the giraffe is, or how would you estimate how tall the giraffe is if you know the man is 2 metres?
Should we explain our work?
Yeah, and you need to try and explain how you've done this. So how do you think? Don't just guess an answer. Think about how you've worked that out. Have you done anything? You can write down if you've added something or times something. You need to try and write down what you've done. Okay, some good guesses here. Okay, some lovely answers, right? Brilliant. So you're seeing how many of these will fit in. So if you drew this man a few times, it'd be easier on your, if you had the actual paper. It's about 3 times bigger than the man. So if you put about 6 metres, that's going to be absolutely fine, as long as you explain what you've done. If you've done 5 metres, it's fine. So you'd be allowed anything like 5 to 8 metres will be fine for that giraffe. But it's this kind of question that really catches people out, because we don't tend to know how big a metre is, how tall different people are. Okay, so that's kind of an introduction to what we're doing. Now, just about old units of measure. A bit of history for you. So the yard was one of the oldest ones. We still use yards now, yards and miles. And this came from King Henry I in the 1100s. And a yard was this. You put your thumb up like that, and it was a distance from your thumb to your nose. That was a yard. It's not bad, that. So that is a yard. It's a bit less than a metre.
So a bit like a cubit.
Yeah, a bit like the cubit if you're in for that lesson. So it's from the tip to your nose. That was a yard. Okay? A stone. Okay, a stone was made by King Edward III, and we used to use these big rocks to weigh things. So they put them in the weighing scales. And then he said that, you know, we're going to make a stone exactly 14 pounds. I mean, why I told 14, chose 14, it was to do with exporting wool, selling wool. And a pint is an American measure which was made in 1824 to again try and make things more accurate. But these didn't link together, they're all horrible numbers. 14 is a horrible number.
Why?
Okay, in a pint there are 7 pints in a gallon. We don't like using 7s and 14s, they're difficult. So we came up with what was called the metric system, which was made in 1791 to make things much easier. And the metric system works in tens. So there are 10 millimetres in a centimetre, 100 centimetres in a metre. It's much easier to work with that, because if we're counting up in tens, we can just go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. If we're counting up in 14s, if we go back to the pounds and stones, we're going 14, 28, and I'm starting to get stuck. So we want to stick to tens, hundreds, 1,000 and metric units. These are the questions you'll get on your exams. This is what we want to use as much as possible, except for maybe miles. Right, so let's have a think about metric units. These are the ones we've got. We've got for length, we've got kilometres, metres, centimetres and millimetres. So they're the biggest. They get smaller, smaller and smaller. Weight, we have kilograms and grams. And volume, at the moment you have litres and millilitres. So you use these all the time. Do we know how to change between them? Okay, so we're going to make sure we can times by 10, 100 and 1,000 like we're doing a couple of lessons ago. So just as a reminder, if we needed to do 34 times 10, this is really easy, because if we've got our 34 there in our units, in our ones, our tens, our hundreds, okay, if we times by 10, the 3 goes to the hundreds, the 4 goes to the tens. So we'd end up with the 3 moving to there, and the 4 moving to there, and then we pop a 0 on the end. So 34 times 10 would be 340. We move it all along. If we divide, we move it back that way. So let's see if you can remember how to do that. I've got some questions here, some easier ones there, and then some going to decimals there. So have a go at these. Check you can multiply and divide by 10, 100, and even 1,000.
Okay,
Okay?
I can divide by 1,000. I can times by 1,000. It's going to go along 3 places.
Okay, if anyone's got any problems, please let me know as well.
3 times 10 to 100.
Guys, let's keep the chat positive, please, and let's make sure we are helping each other.
Four times 10 equals 40. 3 times 100 equals 300. 8 times 10 equals 80.
Okay, this is some of the things. If you can find it, if you find this really easy, that is fantastic. But make sure you can do that column as well. Those are a little bit easy because you can kind of think about the zeros. These ones are more difficult, so let's make sure we're doing it properly.
making it to that section. I'm so making 20 times 10. 20.
If you want to skip a few out as well, if you know you can do those, and you want to go to the hard ones, you can go to the hard ones. That's absolutely fine.
103. Times 1,000 equals
Okay, so you're going to get some more practice at this. Just going to give you 1 more minute on this. If you want to move on to the harder ones, you can do to check those out. It's up to you because you're at different levels. Some of you might not have done any decimal work at all before. If you want to move on to those, have a go at those there if you want. Skip onto those ones. Bet you can do that one.
3.4 times 10. Easy peasy and squeezy in my heart. So,
Okay, just another 30 seconds.
3.4 times 10. 12. Take away that 3.4 times 10. So it's split. I'm going to take away that point and move the 4 into the 3 place. So it's 43 times 10. What if 3 times 10 equals 430?
No, you've already moved it there, yeah? 4's going to go to there, 3's going to go to there. Don't move it twice.
Yeah, the 4's going to go to there. So it'll equal.
Move the 3 across first, it's probably easy.
So it's 340.
No, just 34 because that goes to the tens. That goes to the units.
Oh yeah.
Okay, right, let's give you some answers then. So, Here we go. If you can't do the last column, don't worry. Okay, there's only some of the questions. We're going to go back on those ones. So those are the answers you should have there. So when you're timesing, it's getting bigger. When you're dividing, everything's moving smaller one place. Okay? So decimal ones do get pretty tricky. Okay, I think ones like that one and that one are very tough to keep track of the points. If you can do this easily with practice, it is a big advantage in your maths going on to GCSE. You could get a question like that on a GCSE paper. Okay, that's how difficult this is, what you're doing. Those would be GCSE questions that will come up. So think about how old you are compared to the people that are older than that are still struggling with that because you are practicing and working at this. Okay, so here are some really important things. You need to remember these. You need to know that 1 centimetre, so that's your finger length there, your finger thickness, is 10 millimetres. So a millimetre is a tiny, tiny little piece of measurement for measuring really small things. You need to know that 1 metre equals 100 of those. So 1 metre is 100 centimetres. And a kilometre is for long distances, like between towns and things. A kilometre is 1,000 metres. So a kilometre is 1,000 of those. So think about how big those are. Now this helps us for converting. Because I know if I've got centimetres to get to 10 millimetres, to get to millimetres, I am timesing by 10. So I am timesing by 10. So I know if I've got 7 centimetres, I would times it by 10 to give me my millimetres. So 7 times 10 will be 70 millimetres because I've got 10 of them. If I was going from millimetres to centimetres, I could divide by 10. So it works both ways. We can times to go that way, divide to go that way. This is why the metric system works, because timesing by 10 and 100, as you've seen, is really quick. So those are the conversions you're using. So you've got 1 centimetre equals 10 millimetres, times by 10, divide by 10. If you're going from metres to centimetres, it's 100 you're using. And if you're going from kilometres to metres, it's 1,000 you're using. So we can times and divide by those numbers there, and you get your answer. So have a go at those questions. The ones in red are more difficult because they involve decimals. So if you're not confident with decimals, you can just do the top 3 from each section. Okay, it is entirely up to you. Okay, and these are the kind of questions that you might end up getting at the end of year 6 on your SAT. But also, you would definitely get these on a GCSE paper as well. So if you can learn them now, it's one less thing to learn when you get to high school.
Okay, I'm going to take you on those hard ones.
Just start with the blue ones first, and then because you haven't had to go at any of these up here.
No, I haven't had a go on any of these in my life. I can give it a go. 4 centimetres equals millimetres. Times it by 10, so equals 40. Okay, that's one thing to do. The first one done, 8 centimetres. So if I'm timing, okay.
Right, if you're posting inappropriate things here and stuff like that, I'm just muting you as I can do. I don't mind smiley emojis and stuff like that, but if you're just messing around, there's not much point, is there really? Okay, let me know if you're not too sure about this. The other thing is, if you aren't given those, you need to know those. So it's quite easy when I've written that on the board there, but you need to know those things really well. If you mess up and think actually there's 100 metres in a kilometre, you're going to get the wrong answer. So you need to learn these really quickly, and I'll give you some clues about how to learn them towards the end. I've got some, they do help you with the words.
Okay, so first section hard. First section on my hard ones. So if I'm timesing by 10, if I'm going from 4 meters, so timesing by 10. 48 millimeters. 48 millimeters. That means that.
Right, let's have a look at some of these if you are struggling. So for the first one, to change centimetres to millimetres, look at the arrow there, we are timesing it by 10. So question 1, we would do 4 times 10, which equals 40 millimetres. So 4 times 10 to 40 millimetres. Question 2, to get from 8 centimetres to millimetres, it's the same again, we are timesing by 10, which is 80 millimetres. Question 3, this time we're going from millimetres to centimetres. So if we're going from millimetres to centimetres, because we need lots of millimetres to make up 1 centimetre, we are going to divide by 10. So we're going to do 30 divided by 10, which is 3 centimetres. Okay, so check you're doing the right thing now. Check if that helps you. If you still need help, please let me know on the chat. Okay, there?
Yeah, I think I've done the first 5.
Oh, the one with decimals as well. Where's the one with decimals? Oh, have you skipped the one with decimals?
No, I put them here.
Oh, there, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, very good. On there.
Thanks. Okay. Okay, so the second instruction, 5 meters equals, so, Danny, six, 500 centimeters.
Okay, I'm just going to give you a super challenge question if you finish those as well. Okay, I want to know 7 meters equals how many millimeters?
I think I know the answer to
And
that.
we'll also go with 2 kilometers equals how many
Oh my.
centimeters? So superstar challenge questions there. Those are tough.
I think I can work out those ones.
Okay, have a go then if you want to do those ones.
Yep, so it's 7 meters. So, can you help me draw my star? I have no idea how to draw one.
Draw what?
A star, so like the superstar questions, I have no idea how to. So, 7 meters equals.
So don't worry, if you've skipped those, this at the bottom is a lot later on. Even in the year 6 SATs, you know, you're going to get mainly those questions out. You might get one with a decimal in for this kind of stuff. So it's not, don't ignore it, but for now, if you're just learning this for the first time, you only want the blue ones really. Okay, just another minute to have a go at those ones. We'll finish off the ones you're doing there. You're doing really well. It's a really difficult maths here. This is combining a lot of stuff we've done from other lessons. So it's a very tough topic for me. And at GCSE, I see so many students get these questions wrong. They just don't know what to do. They get them completely 0 marks in this, and that can be the difference between passing or failing for them.
So equals. So I'm doing the superstar question.
Very good. How do you get that?
I knew it 7 meters equals 700 centimeters, so I'll just times it by 10.
Good.
But I think it's
Okay, right, I'm going to show you the answers for the ones on the board there. Okay, there they are. The answers are underlined. And tricky decimal ones on the kilometre side there when you've got to think about your place value. The superstar questions. Okay, so this one, first of all, I would change it to centimetres. So I would say 7 metres equals 700 centimetres, because you times by 100. And then I'm going to change it to millimetres, times by 10, gives you 7,000. So 7,000 for that one. Same for this, I'm going to change it to metres first. So to metres, you're going to times by 1,000, so it's 2,000 metres. Then to get to centimetres, times by 100 again, which is going to be 200,000 centimetres. So 200,000 centimetres, 200,000 fingertips laid down like that for you for the distance there. Okay, so you can do it. You show me you can do it. Remember these. You need to learn these, and I'll show you how to learn those. Might be next, in fact. Right. So these are the ones you need to know. Those are the most important ones. They come up all the time. This in real life as well. Lengths tend to be more useful than the other ones. Volume, a good one as well to know. Okay, so, and weight, kilogram, 1 kilogram equals 1,000 grams, 1 ton equals 1,000 kilograms. There are some clues, okay? Kilo means 1,000. So kilograms means 1,000 grams. Kilometres means 1,000 metres. So there's a clue there. Cent, think about cents, century. How many years are there in a century? 100. Cent is French, cent is French for 100. So this means 100, so it means there are 100 centimetres in a metre. Okay, so cent means 100 as well. And then milli actually means 1,000. There's 1,000 millimetres in a metre, or you just need to remember 10 millimetres is a centimetre. So there's some stuff to just learn there. And the more you use them, the more you'll learn them. Okay, so we're going to look now at just a bit of problem solving to do with this, and then we will have a final game of bingo before half term. So, a distance problem for you here. Who has travelled the furthest in total? Okay, I was watching Toy Story when I was making this question up, as you can probably guess. Toy Story 3, yeah, great film. So, I want to know who has travelled the furthest in total. You must show how you get your answer. So, has Buzz travelled the furthest? Has Jessie travelled the furthest? Or has Ken travelled the furthest? Who has travelled the furthest out of these 3 people? Oh, some good knowledge there about cent comes from centi, the Greek, apparently. I would have assumed it was Latin, but Wow, okay, yeah. So it's going to go back a long way, this thing of 100. You can't just say Jesse because she's travelled the most, or Ken because he's travelled the most. You need to show how you know. So you need to show some nice working out for this. You need to show your answer. So when it says this, you can't just write down an answer. They're looking for key things you've written down to show you've worked it out and you've not just guessed. You've got to explain what you're doing a bit more. You don't need loads of words, you need to explain it. Okay? So, have you worked at the total distance? Buzzer's gone. Have you written that down? So you need to write down some total distances, don't we? And then we should be able to work out who's gone further. So you've really got to show your answer, so make sure you're putting lots of working out for a question like this. Not necessarily for all questions. It's always good to show some working out, but for these ones in particular, you need to show some key things that you put down. And I'll go through what the key things are. I don't want you to write more than you need to.
Daddy, what does strut mean?
Strut means like Ken kind of goes like this, like yeah, Ken. He struts like down there, showing up his clothes and stuff like that. Yeah? Probably not a good strut there, but that's what strut means. This is terrible drawings here.
What is it?
Yeah.
Doesn't more looks like a pirate.
Go, okay, go David. Get the job done. Okay, some good answers there. Huxley, liking that answer there, well explained. Okay, I'm assuming you've written down the others as well. Interesting, some have stuck in kilometres, some have stuck into, put into metres. It's completely up to you. Lovely answer from Ethan there, fantastic answer that one there, brilliant. Fraser and Finn as well, but let's have a look at this. So, first of all, I'm going to put everything into metres because I don't like working with decimals. So I'm going to say Buzz flies 2,000 plus 400. So Buzz goes 2,400 metres. Always show your units. Jessie goes 1,500 metres and then she gallops, I'm assuming on bullseye, 800, which is 2,300 metres. And then Ken struts 650 and drives 1,800, which gives 2,450 metres. So I can then say that Ken goes the furthest. And don't forget to tick your answer or say Ken, because they're looking for that. So in your exam, you can explain that in loads of words if you want, but the key things they're looking for is this, this, and this written down, and a tick. That will count as your working out, if you write that down. Or if you put 2.4 kilometres, 2.3 kilometres, 2.45 kilometres, that's fine. That's the working out you need to do. It's nice to put some words down and do that kind of thing, but if you are doing things in your head because you like doing that, you are still going to get full marks as long as you've written down those three numbers. So showing your working out doesn't always mean I've got to do absolutely everything. You just need to show the key things you're trying to talk about. Okay, right, next one. Okay, time is horrible, time conversion, because time is not metric. Because in time, it's not 100 seconds in a minute, it's not 100 minutes in an hour, it's in 60s, isn't it? 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour. So they are difficult. So I wanted to give you a bit of practice at some time questions, and then we'll play bingo. 2 more questions, then we're on bingo. Okay, so have a go at this one, please. I go to the cinema and stay there for 2.5 hours. how many minutes is this? I was, of course, watching Harry Potter and the Order of the Bidmas. So, can we work out how many minutes I stayed at the cinema for if I was there for 2.5 hours?
So, Daddy, what does that mean? So, he stayed there for 2 hours and 2.5, and that it doesn't make any sense.
So how many minutes is that in total?
So,
You work it in minutes, so
I don't really understand what does that 2 mean.
2.5 hours. So 2.5 hours. So 2 full hours and 1/2 hours. Well, how many minutes is that altogether? How long do you work with that?
And you say like that. Harry Potter or of the Bidmas is not. It's not a real Harry Potter.
Yes, I know. It's my joke, Theo. It's my joke. The Order of the Bidmas, because Bidmas is about how you order things. You put things in the right order, and it's like Order of the Phoenix.
Oh, all of the.
You're ruining my joke. Ah. Just to let you know, it's not a problem. I know it's not Harry Potter film. Right, okay, so let's work this out. Come on, Theo.
So, 120 minutes. So, 120 minutes. So, he stays there for 2 hours and 1/2 an hour.
So you got your 2 hours, good?
220 minutes. Add 30 minutes equals 200.
Okay, so your 2 hours. There's 60 minutes in an hour, so 2 hours is 120 minutes. Half an hour, if a full hour is 60 minutes, half an hour is 30 minutes. So if we add those together, 20 and 30 is 50 minutes. Then we've got a 150 minutes. Okay, not too hard, that one. Right, last question. Okay. When I planned this lockdown lesson, I carry out the following tasks. So when I plan a lockdown lesson, I carry out the following tasks. I look for new hats, which takes me 30 minutes. I make up some new questions, which takes me 55 minutes. And I plan hilarious jokes, which takes me 50 minutes. Okay, you might say that's a waste of time. So how long does it take me to plan a lesson? Type of that. How long does it take me to plan a lesson? I need your answer in hours and minutes.
Daddy, to show hours and minutes, should I put like 1 hour? So should I put an hour section and a minute
Yeah,
section?
that's fine, yeah.
And a second section.
There's not going to be seconds. Okay, so look at how you can work this. There's different ways to do it. I would definitely stick in minutes to start with. But remember, you cannot start timesing things by 10 and dividing by 100 because minutes is 60. It's more difficult. And a calculator won't really help you either.
Yeah. So, 1
Some slightly different answers coming on the chat there. Remember as well, I want the answer in hours and minutes. So just putting it in minutes would only get you 1 mark out of 2 marks for this question. So you need to put it in hours and minutes. If you've got the minutes, that's great. It's a really good stage to do, but get the hours and minutes as well. Yep.
I've finished.
Done that, have you?
Yeah.
What have you got?
It's down there.
No, not quite. Because how many minutes are there in an hour? Not 100. See, that's why time's tricky. Okay, so Theo's just made a mistake. I think there are 100 minutes in an hour because we've just been doing hundreds with everything else. Annoyingly, time is 60. It is really, really annoying. I wish we changed it ages ago so there were 100 minutes in an hour. So it is frustrating.
But it would change the clock too. It would change the time yesterday that we did. Oh my gosh. So 50 add. So it's 1 hour and 40. 70. And I think.
Okay, right. Got
we
some great
collected.
answers here. Let's have a look. So I would just add them in minutes together first. So if you add those together, you've got 30 plus 55 plus 50. So if we add our 10s together, 50 and 50, and then we've got a 5 as well, so I'm partitioning it off. So that's 130 plus your 5 gives you 135 minutes. Okay, now there's 60 minutes in each hour. So we know if you do 60 and 60 you get 120. So we've got 60 plus 60, so that's 2 hours. So we've got 2 hours, and then from 135 to 120 it's 15 minutes. Okay? I guess you could also say that's 2¼ hours, because 15 minutes is a quarter of a full hour. So you could use fractions as well for that, because 15, 30, 45, 60, so it's a quarter of an hour. So you've got to think really carefully about time. It is tricky. So metric units times by 10 and 100, you can see how much easier it was, because you could just times it by, you could just divide or times by 100 at the end. With time is much more difficult, so don't fall into that trap and just think, okay, there's 100 minutes in an hour, okay, because you're used to doing the other work. Right, brilliant work today. That's really good work with that, because it's a tricky topic. I've said loads of older pupils at high school always get this wrong as well, so keep practicing with that. Right, we're going to have a game of bingo, the final one of the half term. Okay, I'm going to play animal bingo. So first of all, you can put the numbers 1 to 32 in your grid. So any numbers you want, 1 to 32, so you might put 2, 7, 12, 20, 21, 30, and so on. Put your numbers in the grid, and then you need to pick an animal. You can pick tiger, monkey, or a newcomer, you can pick Pikachu as your animal.
Or mouse.
If your animal is picked up out the pot, then you can cross off any number on your grid.
Daddy,
Okay?
So the animals.
Fill in your grid, let us know in the chat what animal you're picking for.
We need the animals.
Okay, quickly go and get the animals here and I'll draw a grid.
Thanks. Don't forget, I'm going for tiger. I'm going for tiger.
Okay. Okay, so you're filling in your grid 1 to 32, and you're also picking an animal. Just write that on the side, either tiger, monkey, or Pikachu. We've got monkey from George, we've got a Pikachu, we've got a Pikachu as well. I'm not sure what a Pikachu is. Oh, Huxley, big in for Team Tiger as well.
Pika.
We've got a tiger.
Tiger's outside. I have to.
No, don't worry, we'll be fine with that. Just put your numbers in there or you're going to miss it. Hurry up.
So we'll just. So we'll just.
Do you want to pick some random numbers?
Yeah, thanks. Can I have quite a few tens, because last time I had no tens. You just have to add. You just have to add Y.
Okay, why do that? That's the important rules in case you don't know. Obviously, when we are playing for a full house, you need all 9 squares. All 9 squares. Make sure you need to send me a picture at the end if you want the prize next lesson as well to be in there. So make sure there's no cheating going on in these grids, no crossing outs. When you have just 2 squares left, stand up and say shaky shaky. When you have just 1 square left, stand up and shout top banana. I'm sure we got the banana gone again. We've never got the banana anymore. My 2-year-old loves banana, so he always takes it somewhere. And when we've finished our grid, obviously shout bingo, post where you are on the chat. Okay, so I think we are ready to go. Let's hope your power animal comes out. Let's just have a few more animals here.
Daddy, do you think for Pikachu?
Matthew and Zach on Pikachu as well. Jess is on Team Tiger.
Daddy, is
Oh,
that
who's this? Pikachu as well.
Pikachu?
Pikachu, guys. Come on.
Pikachu.
Right, alright, here we go. So let's play bingo.
Oh, please win this way.
Number 1,
Please
5 plus 6. 5 plus 6. 5 plus 6.
No.
5 plus 6 is your first one. 5 plus 6. Next one. 6 times 3. 6 threes. 6 times 3. 6 times 3.
Oh,
Next one, double 7, double 7.
Then he just crossed out my 18.
That's right, 18 you should cross out.
Yeah.
Well, you cross them out now once you've done it. Obviously cross them out when you get them, that's fine.
Yeah.
Right, next one, double 7, double 7. Double 7, please, double 7.
Better start.
Double 7, 3 times 5, 3 times 5. 3 times 5 is your next number, 3 times 5. 3 times 5. Okay, we've got 20 add 12, 20 add 12, 20 add 12. Anyone doing well? Anyone doing well? Okay, it is the first number, number 1, number 1. Number 1. Okay, this one is 3 squared. 3 squared, that means 3 times 3. 3 squared is 3 times 3. 3 squared, 3 times 3. Next one is the first odd prime number. The first odd prime number. What is the first prime number that is odd? Remember, 1 is not a prime number. What is the first prime number that is odd?
2.
Is 2 odd, Theo?
No, I mean that I've crossed 2
okay.
out.
Oh, it's a power animal. It's a power animal. Pikachu!
Daddy,
Oh, you Pikachus out there, cross off any square you want for
Daddy,
your
I thought
Pikachus.
I actually wanted to change the Pikachu.
Oh, very good, I can see, yeah. All you Pikachus out there, Pika Power, cross out any grid you want, the power of the Pikachu.
Pikachu! Pikachu! Pika, Pika, Pika.
Okay, next one. 20 add 8, 20 add 8, 20 add 8. Have we got any shaky shakies? Yeah, we got a shaky shaky. We got a shaky shaky.
Pika, Pika, Pikachu, Pikachu, Pikachu.
Have we got a bingo as well? Can I just check? I can't believe you got a bingo yet because that was before the 9 had come out. Can you just double check? For bingo you need all 9 squares, not 1 row, all 9 squares. We got a shaky shaky. Okay, next one. 5 times 5, 5 squared. 5 times 5 is 5 squared. 5 times 5, 5 times 5.
So 5 5s.
5 5s, 5 5s. We got another shaky shaky, another shaky shaky. Next one. 9 plus 4, 9 plus 4, 9 plus 4. Another shaky shaky again. A shaky shaky from Eva, I think. Double 5, double 5, double 5. Double 5. We've got to be getting close here. We've got 2 little ducks and a top banana! Top banana! We got someone 1 away, 1 away. 1 away. I wonder if they have a power animal yet. Next one. 3 plus 2. 3 plus 2. 3 plus 2. Bingo! We got a winner! Bingo, 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 bingo!
It's actually looking a bit better.
We've
for
got
me.
Sharon Brown. I'm not sure what your name is.
Actually, you're
uh,
a little bit
Of your
better.
child, but we've got a bingo, and we are still paying for 2 more winners. 2 more winners. 2 more winners needed for the prizes. Next one. Oh, this could bring some winners. This could be game over. It's a power animal. It's a monkey! Does that give any bingos or top bananas? If you've got the monkey, cross off any number on your grid. And another shaky shaky! We got a bingo! We've got our 2 bingos, Nicola Hancock and Vicky Coxon. We got our bingos and some more shaky shakies. Right, guys. That is the end. Perfect. Bang on 11 o'clock. Okay, so we definitely will not be around next week at all. I will try, depending on school commitments and things, to start up again after the half-term break. So please, everyone, have a fantastic break. Have a great bank holiday weekend. Thank you for coming. You are working really, really hard doing these extra lessons. Hope they're useful. And don't forget, it's bingo magic. Right, see you later.
once again.
Close that time, weren't you, Theo?
Pardon?
You were close that time, weren't you?